this tweet. Unpopular opinion. Locking a man up for unpaid child support is counterproductive and does more harm than good. Al, let's go to you first. Do you agree?
I'm 50-50 on this. I mean, I understand both sides. And we talked about this yesterday. Remember with Darius McCrary? I think though, I just feel like if the goal is for them to pay, then how and why are you locking them up? Not only can they not pay, but having this on their record is not going to give them the ability to get a better job when they lose the one that they had when you got them locked up. So it's like, what actually is the goal? And we do need to re-examine that seriously, because I don't think this locking up mechanism or law or whatever it is actually doing, I think it's doing more harm than it is doing good. Now, for the women, I completely understand, because child support is a source of income that can make the difference between poverty and self-sufficiency. And they are the main provider, right? The person who has custody is the main provider for their child. And children in both of these scenarios are the ones that end up suffering the most. So I just feel like we've got to re-examine this and revamp it so that the kids are affected the least.
All right, Al, what do you think?
Al already spoke. I think that I'll go. I agree. I said this yesterday when we did the Darius McCrary story, that it was kind of stupid. How are you supposed to pay? For those that are out there who are nosy like me, I have somebody, a mutual friend of Darius's, that saw the show last night. I was like, he's actually out of jail. So I'm assuming when you go to jail for child support, you don't stay in for a long stretch. Maybe it's just to like deter you or to scare you, or maybe it's based on how much you owe. I don't know. Darius owed $57,000 and only was in there for a day or two. So if that's any type of litmus test. But yeah, I echo what Al said. I mean, I guess when they're not paying, you have to find some type of way to get it. On the flip side of things, I think that this probably disproportionately affects men who don't have stable jobs with every 2-week paychecks. Because I got a homegirl who just got her baby daddy on child support. She found out that he had moved to Atlanta and became a police officer, honey. And she had a cousin that was a police officer who put his name in the system and found out what division and precinct he worked for. And bam, just like that, out of nowhere, she started getting child. She put the paperwork in, and it took a couple months. And now she's getting, $600 a month in child support. So I think this affects men who really don't have stable employment, probably, dudes that are out there trapping or, getting paid under the table. Because if your man works, you can easily garnish his job, his paycheck, if you know where he works.
The sad thing is, listen, we make these kids, and a sperm and an egg makes a kid. Okay. And it's two people's responsibility, right? And they have to go to these extreme measures to get the money because the person is behind. And you may be like, oh, I ain't paying that money, or it's an inconvenience. Yeah, it may be an inconvenience to you, and I'm sure it is, but think about how much of an inconvenience it is for the mom that has a child that has to be fed. And now it's not about an inconvenience for them, it's about survival. I remember, well, I won't get into our child support, but anyways, you really can deprive a child of the basic things in life, like heat, like electricity, like meat versus having ramen noodles. And it really comes down to it. And a lot of times these people are running from child support when we're talking about a small amount of child. Most people are not getting the $30,000 a month. The average people are getting like
400,
300. That's not that's a week's worth of groceries in some people's homes. Yeah. And you gyp them of these, you deprive your baby mama or your child because you're annoyed with the mom or whatever. It's really impactful on the other side, guys. It really is. It's a pair of sneakers to you. It's food to your kid.
I wanted to say that, I know the situations are different. There are situations out there where the woman and the man were madly in love and then things happen and he just becomes a jackass. I'm not talking about those situations. I'm talking about these fly-by-night situations, these trying to trap player situations like we talked about earlier. In society, there's a lot of double standards, and you know what they say, mommy's baby, daddy's maybe, all right? Like, going back to that earlier conversation we had about the woman ultimately having control of her body and if she gets pregnant or not, again, I'm not trying to absolve men, but women, I'm just saying this to you as somebody who cares. The burden is going to fall on you 9 times out of 10. So you've got to be a bit more conscious, because it is easy for a man to just get up and walk away. We can just get up and walk away. It don't make it right, but we can just get up and walk away, and you're stuck with the baby.
It's really unfortunate that that is the case. And things also change, all that. I want you to have my child. I promise you this. We're going to get married. We're going to do this and that. And then it changes, and then you stuck, and then people think you're dumb when really you just believed